What's up, everybody? Welcome back to TheBiringPodcast. Today we got Trump and Zelensky's little kerfuffle.
That thing was crazy, man.
We'll show you the clip plus both their reactions after the situation and where other countries might stand.
By the time this thing airs, they might just change their minds.
Then we got Elon said that Canada's not really a country. Plus he had his 14th kid and he was on Rogan.
Is this guy going for the world record?
I don't know. Maybe he's trying to populate the country by himself. Next, we got the face of the NBA debate.
Whose league is it anyway?
I don't know. Seems like nobody really wants a job.
Yeah.
And then Canadian politics.
Dougie Fresh came through again.
Right. Won the provincial election. And Mark Carney was talking some smack about Poilievre. Also, we have some audio of Trump saying what he thinks about the conservative leader. After all that, Sakir, what do we have for off topic?
Yeah, so we have a story about eye surgeries. McDonald's renames a couple of their restaurants, WillSmith's performance, and a couple other stories.
And stay tuned for the question segment at the end.
We'll give you our thoughts and opinions on all of that. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And go follow us on TikTok and Instagram at TheBiringPodcast. So let's start with good old Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Him and Zelenskyy were having a little bit of a situation, to say the least. Play the clip.
No, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for invitation.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see people. Do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I
the
don't have
dignity of this
such-
office.
Trump
I
is
will wear
smiling.
costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this?
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. But you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know that.
bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position to
this question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're
doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I was
You don't have the
saying-
cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're
serious,
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
what do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What is-
World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country,
I'm
that's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you,
you.
far more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today,
have you said thank
even
you?
today.
Okay.
He did. That was the first thing that came out of his mouth was thank you.
I mean, in that clip, yeah. I don't know how it originally started, but it seems like he's just another guy that Trump doesn't really respect, right?
Yeah, this thing was going pretty good up until that was the last question.
Mm-hmm.
And then chaos ensued, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna tell him like, why aren't you wearing a suit, right? Like the guy's country's at war,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I know a lot of the sentiment in the United States is people don't want to be funding anyone else's war, so it's easy to hate the guy and vilify him, if you will. But what do you expect him to do, right? Like, if that's kind of the way he dresses, right, that's his choice.
Yeah.
Right?
Who was asking him that?
Yeah, so you know how first they didn't show, because the person that asked was off camera.
Yeah.
So I assumed it was Vance because he's part of the conversation. But it was just some random reporter
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of interrupted their conversation to say that.
Yeah.
Which
I feel
is
like
that
Trump
even allowed?
should have stepped in and been like
I
know your role.
think he liked
I
it.
know, he liked it. He started
while
smirking.
No, I know, but I think that's what he should have done.
I mean, okay, to play devil's advocate, you could also be like, yeah, you're in the Oval Office. Why aren't you wearing a suit?
Have you ever
Right.
seen him wear a suit?
No. And there's also, who's the other, there's another senator. I can't remember. He was on Rogan.
Oh,
That
yeah,
guy,
yeah. He
even
wears-
to the inauguration.
he wears shorts.
Yeah, he wore a hoodie.
Yeah, a hoodie.
Right. And nobody had a problem with that.
Yeah.
Right. And this guy, like, there is this sentiment of like, if the guy's country's at war, maybe he doesn't feel like wearing a suit. Right.
I mean, I get both sides kind of. Where are you? Everyone around you is wearing a suit. Maybe you should also be wearing the costume, is what he called it. But I don't know. I just feel like the treatment of this guy, it was pretty uncalled for. Have you ever seen something like this?
No.
Oh,
I never seen
Look at his
somebody treated
face.
like that.
Yeah,
I
like
felt bad for him.
He's like, I regret coming here.
no, I feel like he did a good job of standing his ground.
He
right?
did.
He didn't really back down,
moment.
despite what you might think of him as a person, right? But I think he knew that this was an important meeting, right?
Yeah.
And he's probably holding punches, right?
Yeah.
And Trump seems like he got offended the second he was like, "You'll feel this," right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Hold on, we're not gonna feel anything."
Yeah, he's like,
You
don't
don't
tell
tell
us
us.
what we feel.
Yeah, he's like, "We'll feel what we
Why
feel."
did Vance get so brave?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that.
If I had to guess, right, like it's like a team, right? So
Yeah.
like they probably have discussions beforehand. I'm just guessing. I don't know, right? That if he says this, you say this. Make sure you have my back. That's how it's gonna work. He's a VP, right?
Like even the reporter that asked that question, weren't you wearing a suit? People think it might have been staged. Because like, why can a reporter just interfere into that conversation and ask something so irrelevant?
I don't know.
It has nothing to do with why he was there. It's such a pointless question. It should have been dismissed.
I don't know if that was a reporter or like a member of his staff. It was somebody sitting on the side, but like I don't know exactly who it was. It could have been a reporter.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. But regardless, right? Even if it was like a staff member or a reporter, it's
The guy's name was Brian Glenn. He's a chief White House correspondent. He's just a reporter.
Yeah.
And then he doubled down on it. He just tweeted afterwards. And he said his wardrobe is a direct reflection of the lack of respect he has for our country.
Okay.
Critics can make fun of me all they want. I don't care. Like, who is this guy?
make fun of me.
He's a loser.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I feel like like you can play it from both sides, right? They're both costumes, right? You can argue that he's wearing a costume right now, right? Like because that's been his costume because his country's at war, so he's deciding that this is what I'm gonna wear now, right? Because my country's at war, right?
Yeah.
You can argue a lot of things are costumes. Whenever people wear, in solidarity for anything that they're representing, poppies, or you could be like, it's just a costume. What do you can make fun of anything if you want to, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, yes, you can get a little bit offended if he's not wearing a suit, but is it a big deal to me if he's not? No.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about Elon Musk? Wasn't he just in the Oval Office, not wearing a suit with his son on his shoulders? Like, wasn't that disrespectful?
Yeah,
People thought it was, though.
It was, and people he got backlash for that as well, right? Like the problem is, like, I feel like what happens with these kind of situations, it's political, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if this was Biden sitting there and he wasn't wearing a suit and somebody said that, then the right would have been like, it doesn't matter if he was wearing a suit or not, right?
Yeah.
But now it's Trump sitting there and he said that. Now they're like, he should be wearing a suit, right? So it just turns into that whole situation a little bit. I feel like with Elon, when I saw that, I was like, why is this kid there?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
It looked so cute.
yeah, but like you could bring your kid to a lot of places, right? But in the Oval Office, standing right behind the desk, like maybe just don't do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Or maybe like as a dad, he was like, this is the one time you're going to get to meet him.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little bit hypocritical, right? It's not about meeting him. There's going to be a lot of instances where Elon's kids can probably meet Trump and go into the Oval Office, right? But when
It'll
they're
be
having
publicized.
Yeah, but if you're getting, if there's a press conference, right, on a serious government matter, right? Like maybe that's not the best time, right? So if you're going to take that opportunity, to Simmer's point, right, to a little bit like, I don't know.
But you know how his
dishonor
kid
the
was
Oval
kind of
Office.
like making fun of Trump, like playing, like maybe they wanted to like make Trump seem nicer because he's coming across as very aggressive.
I don't think it was like the way
Everything
that
is
this
a
plays off
ploy.
to me. Like what I was trying to say is that like if you're going to do that and then you're going to get angry about this guy not wearing a suit,
Yeah.
it's kind of hypocritical.
Yeah. For sure.
Trump's not actually getting angry at the suit thing. He's just getting angry at him telling him how
to feel.
America's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
So he didn't, I don't think he was just nodding and smiling because
But I feel like he shouldn't even have allowed that question. Like Zelenskyy shouldn't have had to answer that.
Yeah, he could have stopped it. But like you said, it's either I got that feel a little bit too. Obviously they planned the way that they're gonna attack any meeting, right? Probably talk about it, discuss it. But you got that feeling that like this seems a little pre-planned. Even Vance, the way he interjected, it's either that or that question or that answer really pissed this guy off, and he's like, "Okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy."
I think it is that. I think there is this little part of Trump where he respects people like Xi, like Putin, right? And he doesn't respect people like Zelensky. He doesn't respect people like Trudeau, right? So those
Even
kind of
Macron, anyone like
those kind of people, there's not a tremendous amount of respect for. When he's dealing with the UK, he has somewhat, respect. But when he's dealing with India, he'll have some respect. China, Russia, but it's basically, it seems like whoever has like military capabilities, he has respect for them. And whoever has less capabilities, there's no respect. Right?
For sure.
So, I mean, to that, he's gonna act this way. Right? And then you get that whole, oh, he's Russia's puppet kind of thing. Right? I don't know. Right? Like, I'm not saying he's Russia's puppet, but like it's easier for the general public to frame it that way. Right?
For sure. I don't. He's kind of trying to strong arm him. He just wants to end this thing. He has like his mandate. He said it before. He's like, I'm gonna get this done 2 days before I get into office. Seems like that's his main goal, just to get this thing done with any means, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're gonna take, like I think before the negotiations even started, Trump was like, NATO, Ukraine being a part of NATO is off the table. Right, which is fine if it's gonna be off the table anyways. The thing about that is that it can't even be used as a negotiation tactic. Right, it's already gone. Right, so. I mean, I feel like this was already headed in one direction before this thing even started, right? And he's already had conversations with Putin, right?
For sure.
So, I mean, but we have another clip of him, same meeting, and things got a little bit more interesting.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
He's
You've
just
done a lot of
pissed off at
talking.
this point.
Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment.
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you. You see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very
I understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I
on
know.
soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't play
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with
a
you.
guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins.
Oh my god. See, look at that. This guy's that's the headline. That's what he has on his mind, right?
He just keeps doing this. Gotta love his hands.
It's crazy. Like they're talking about very serious things.
Yeah.
Obviously, right?
Yeah.
How do you not laugh at that?
I mean, yeah, that whole interaction is a little bit funny,
It's childish.
right? And the way that he's behaving. But what I was saying earlier, there's I don't think there's been anything that Russia is willing to concede, right?
Yeah.
So to this point, I believe Russia has taken over 20% of Ukraine, and I think they're approximately somewhere around 3 million people are living in that area where they've overtaken, right?
Yeah.
So technically they're under occupation. So what does negotiations look like?
Yeah.
Right? If these guys aren't going to be a part of NATO, right? If Russia is saying that none of that territory is going to be given back, right? What are they negotiating?
Yeah.
Right? He's saying that no guarantees. So I'm guessing what the negotiation looks like, it's kind of unfolding to is that Russia, whatever Russia's taken, they keep.
Yeah.
Right. And these guys aren't a part of NATO. Right. And there's no guarantees for the future. That's what they're telling them. Right. So to that, obviously, you're going to get certain reactions. Right.
Yeah. If you're Zelenskyy, does that sound like a good deal to you?
No.
It's just this guy, all he wants is some assurances, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's telling him he's like, just agree to the terms and we'll worry about everything else afterwards. How do you expect somebody to do that? He just wants some security assurances, some guarantees from these countries that everyone's gonna do what they just agree on everything. That's all he's basically saying, right? And Trump also inflates the crap out of these numbers. He's saying 350 billion. It's Congress approved 5 bills worth 175 billion.
Yeah.
So more or less double that number.
Yeah.
So he's always throwing things out.
I mean, who knows what those numbers actually are, because a lot of things happen with that. There's a lot of you can get into if you want to talk about the numbers actually. But generally, I feel like while the elections were going on before Trump even got elected, one of the key talking points was that they're wasting money on somebody else's war, right? Whether it was Ukraine or even if it was Israel, right? And the U.S. didn't like that, right? And their population didn't like that. So Israel, they had the ceasefire negotiated, and he thought he could do the same thing here, which is what I feel like he's getting a lot of pushback here, is that there's nothing coming from Russia's side saying that this is what they're going to bring to the table, and everything is coming from their side, right?
Yeah.
And when Russia took over, basically annexed Crimea in 2014, after that, they started basically using that as one of the bases to attack Ukraine.
Yeah.
Right? And I think if you're going to steelman the other side when it comes to Russia, the main argument there is they want to defend their border, because if all the countries around their border are in NATO, right, then that's kind of like what happened with the Cuban Missile Crisis with the U.S.
Yeah.
Right? And JFK the Navy surrounded Cuba right away, got that dealt with when the USSR had nuclear weapons sitting in Cuba.
Yeah.
Right? So now I feel like as an American, you can somewhat understand Russia's perspective, right? But then there's also a perspective of their sovereignty being in question, right? So it's hard. And it's also, they were part of the USSR.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and we got to remember why he's even there. It's that minerals deal, right? There's
that.
And why does USA even care about that? Because they want to reduce their dependency on China, right? China owns like 75%, I think, roughly, of the rare minerals in the world. And these guys have like 5% of it.
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't stand to gain from this guy. He's coming there with his hat in hand.
Yeah.
And he's asking you, like, he needs you. And you're just bullying him because you can.
Imagine that, right? Like, these guys are bringing minerals to the table, to the US, right? And they're saying, you guys can have this if you guys kind of negotiate this deal with us. And they're like, okay, the deal is you get nothing, right? And we want your minerals, right? I mean, I understand that they don't really have much leverage outside of that, but
have any.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's a tough situation. But yeah, once the meeting was over, both Zelenskyy and Trump had comments, and here's a clip of it.
It will be difficult without your support, but we can't lose. We don't have enough weapon to push them out, and we don't see now, for now, we don't see really big volume of new support from the United States, but with all respect again.
Do you regret that? Are you regretting that happened today?
Regretting. Yes, I think it was not good.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Can be. Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents. It's the historical relations, strong relations between our people.
What?
What does Zelenskyy need to do? He's not talking.
He's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say
He's
about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. His people are dying. Look, I don't trust or distrust anybody. I just want to get a deal done. And if the deal happens, good. But you can't embolden somebody that does not have the cards, and all of a sudden that person says, oh, well, now I can keep fighting. We're not going to keep fighting. You're going to get the war done or let them go and see what happens. Let them fight it
It's
out.
bullying, right? At its core, that's all he's doing. He knows that he needs him. He can't do anything on his own.
Well, they don't like if Europe is gonna back them,
Yeah.
right? And if there's other countries willing to step in, right? It's not like this thing will end. That's why Trump was saying you can start World War III.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he started with, right? He's like, you don't know what you're, messing with. This can start World War III. So let's imagine hypothetically if the US did pull out, right? And Europe was still in Ukraine's corner, that's a pretty dangerous situation.
For sure.
Right? So when he's saying that if he wants to keep fighting, then you just let them figure it out. I think he's just saying then, Russia and Ukraine just go at it if nobody else is stepping in. But if other countries continue to fund this kind of like a proxy war, it can escalate.
That's what's like most countries came out and agreed with them, like Australia, Canada, most of Europe, Spain, Italy. They all said they're going to be with the Ukraine. They're going to side with them. So that could potentially end up happening.
Yeah, which makes things a little bit interesting. What do you think about this whole tariff situation that's going on with Canada, right?
Yeah.
And then Canada pretty vocal about supporting Ukraine.
Yeah. They give them money all the time.
Yeah, but ever since Trump comes into office, if you're Canada, right? Even if morally you stand on the side of Ukraine, do you think it's the right move to be so vocal about your support?
Probably not.
Right? Because
he's not going to like that.
Yeah, I mean, in that same interview, same meeting, I think JD Vance brings up when this guy was in Pennsylvania, somewhere. He's like, you were campaigning for the other side, right? So these guys, these guys don't forget,
right?
They
don't forget anything. He's still bringing up Obama, Hillary, crooked. He says it in the same interview.
So then, by that logic, it's not a stretch if you're in a trade war with these guys. I'm not saying back off of your principles or morals or wherever you believe. I mean, a lot of Canadians don't understand why Canada is also contributing to the war, right? Like a lot of people are annoyed with it, especially when there's a lot of things going on in Canada as well. But I don't know, it's a little bit of a fragile time for Canada and US, and I feel like you gotta a little bit be mindful of those kind of things, right? And the optics of it all.
I also think Trudeau's on it, like he's done. He has the last couple of days, and he's probably flying to Ukraine right now.
Right? Like Trudeau is just like, I don't like. It doesn't really matter what's going on anymore. I'm just gonna say what I feel.
I'm going out,
do what I feel.
However I feel like it.
Right. To make fun of this a little bit, we have some AI generated footage of the meeting.
It looks real for 2 seconds.
Right? For like 2 seconds.
Oh my god. Okay, that one.
This was like Mortal Kombat.
Oh shit.
Straight knocked him out. Imagine.
No, that would have been.
They're so quick with this, man. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I saw so many of those.
Yeah.
These AI generated things are getting too funny
It's
now.
gonna get worse.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially if that's just the beginning of it. Memes are going to evolve into that. So much of that. But yeah, should we move on to Elon Musk? Please like and subscribe, as it really does help the podcast out tremendously. Now let's get back to the pod. To Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So he recently posted on X saying that Canada is not a real country. And then Trump kind of had the same train of thought. Here's a clip.
The other thing is we subsidize them to the tune of about $200 billion a year. If we stop doing that, if we stop allowing them to make cars through tariffs and other things, cars, trucks, etc., what they make, they're not viable as a country.
They're not viable as a country. That's crazy. Canada's a country. Last time I checked.
No, we know it's a country. They're just poking fun at it. I feel like what he's saying, if you want to take it at face value, it is this annoying thing that we've been talking about for weeks, and the whole country talks about it. Like, there needs to be incentives in Canada to build things for businesses to exist here, for maybe Canada to start building cars here, right? Like, why isn't there a Canadian car company, right?
Probably is, but
yeah, the one that nobody drives or has ever heard of, right? Like, I'm not saying be the next Apple. I'm not saying be the next I don't know, Google or whatever, right? Because
Yeah.
the whole world uses those products, right? US is a powerhouse. There's no Silicon Valley anywhere else, basically, outside of the US, right? But there are a lot of other things that Canada can build,
Yeah.
right? And they're only going to happen if the incentive structure is here. If anyone who gets any real money usually ends up moving south to save taxes and save money and
Yeah.
for a bigger market,
Yeah.
right? Because there's not a big enough market here,
Yeah.
right? So if you don't incentivize those businesses, then I think that is something that whether the country's leaning left or right, something you should take from this trade war with the US is,
Yeah.
hey man, we need to start incentivizing businesses for the next few decades.
Yeah.
Right. No matter who's winning, we need to build infrastructure. We need to extend the pipeline. We need to incentivize businesses and try to make more money here in Canada, grow the GDP actually outside of just housing and immigration. So, I mean, I don't think he's saying anything wrong there. Right.
Sure. Yeah, I also saw Melanie Jolie. She was talking about it too recently. I think it is, people are realizing, even Carney's talking about it. You got to incentivize business here. At least the point's getting across. It took the tariffs and all these threats to come for it to happen, but it's better late than never.
You know, the problem with that is sometimes I feel like how much is that is political jargon and them trying to win votes,
Yeah.
right?
Never actually, you know.
When they actually get elected, they're like, this is what used to work for us, so we're going to continue doing
Especially
this.
right now.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what are the steps to incentivize businesses? What are they going to do?
Well, if you lower corporate tax, right? And if you make it so that makes it easier for businesses to invest, right? If businesses aren't so heavily taxed, right? Well, like Jagmeet does the opposite, right? And he's like, oh, it's trickle down economics, like it's a bad thing, and he'll say things like that, right? Because what happens then is that you're trying to give more money to the lower class, right? And incentivize them which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you're doing that, you're going to disincentivize businesses and the middle class, right? It's very hard to, in Canada, become part of the middle class and then jump up higher. You can't do it, right? Like it takes years.
Yeah.
And trying to start a business, you're going to get taxed every which way, right? So, I mean, from that standpoint, like if you, especially in specific industries, like if they've been talking about these data centers and stuff, like if there are any corporations trying to do anything here, they should be for it.
For sure.
Right? I mean, that's my take.
You know, like corporations like Amazon, for example, pay such little taxes. Didn't you hear that? How does that work?
Because their expenses are so high when they first start their businesses, right? So then those are all tax write-offs versus how much money they bring in. They don't really pay themselves that much,
So
right?
couldn't that be same situation here?
It can be if somebody's like savvy with it.
They also jump around. Bezos like moved, where did he move to? I forgot what state, but he just recently
from Seattle did he move to Texas or Florida?
Maybe Texas. I actually don't remember. But they do things like that too. They just jump around, go wherever it's convenient. And you can do that in the States.
You can.
Each state's like so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're going to talk about these massive, not even massive, but any businesses really, like what are the biggest markets? I think if you're talking about business, Ontario is probably the biggest.
Yeah.
Right? Like where
Area
else?
of BC.
Yeah, BC.
That's
Maybe
what
Montreal.
about it.
Yeah, Quebec maybe, but like it's not that crazy, right? Like, but if you want younger generation kids, right, to grow up and start any kind of business, they have to believe that there's some sort of path to it.
For sure. Yeah.
Right? If all they're taught is like go get an MBA somewhere in the States and then just go work over there.
Yeah.
What do? You get these young kids who are brilliant, who are smart kids, and then they go down south. Right. And they pursue careers there. There's more money there. There's more everything there.
Yeah.
Why would they stay here?
Even with healthcare, right? Like all these nurses, they're just going to America now, and they're saying they have a healthcare crisis because you're not paying them anything. You're not giving them a reason to be here. Obviously, they're gonna go somewhere else where they can get a better job, right? Just adds to the problem.
Yeah. I mean, continuing with Elon, he was on Rogan recently, and here's a clip of how he said he feels about the media destroying the public's perception of it.
They're doing the same thing to me that they did to Trump.
Yeah.
Which is that they're making it sound like if you kill me, you're a hero. That's what they're doing is evil.
They're also doing the same thing where they're completely distorting who you are, and people are going along with it. And just like we're talking about Trump derangement syndrome, people have Elon derangement syndrome. I see it.
Yeah.
I see where people can't see the forest for the trees.
Right. And it's like I'm the same person that I was a year ago. Nothing's changed, really. Like I didn't suddenly become a completely different human.
Right.
But if you read the sort of legacy mainstream media, their propaganda stream is that I am a completely different human.
Right.
But I didn't get like a brain transplant, in a year. So, and if you say like 2 years ago, I was like a hero of the left.
Yeah.
So how can I go from hero to villain at age 53? Right. And there's no left and right. There's only left and far right.
Right. Yeah. Even
It's like,
far right.
This is my left leg and this is my far right leg.
And even far left. Far
so
left
boring.
is sort of dismissed as
He
being
loved
like
his
not
joke.
important to talk about. Like Antifa and the radical leftists. That's not
Even though like
reasonable.
burning down courthouses.
Yeah.
And,
Reasonable people.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I do feel like the public perception of him is changed a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
because his opinions changed a lot. He's trying to act like that also didn't happen. Like Trump created this monster, man.
And I
Guy's
feel
on
like
a
he's
power trip.
more publicized now. Like since Trump's won the election, like he's everywhere.
When
Yeah.
was he a hero? Like, why is he saying that? Because he made Tesla?
Yeah, so
Everyone
like
loves the car. And
not just the car, it's environmentally friendly, right? It's an electric car. He's basically the pioneer of that. Everyone loves Teslas, and now it's changing. There's even bumper stickers are saying, have you seen them?
No.
It says, I bought this before Elon turned
Oh, wow.
all over the place. I didn't know that there was like death threats and stuff. I'm sure there are,
Yeah.
right? Because
Anyone in the public eye gets
and especially you're gonna read your own comments and the
He
the
seems like
discourse
the
about
type.
you online. You're probably gonna read all. Yeah,
I'm surprised that he's so like bothered by it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I have a
like,
theory
It's
on
a
that.
little sensitive, more sensitive than I thought he was.
I think he didn't realize that, like most of us wouldn't,
Yeah.
that if you are anywhere close to the U.S. presidency, you're going to, half of the country is going to hate you.
For sure.
That's kind of how it is, right?
Yeah.
And you think that, no, man, there's like so many people that love me,
Yeah.
right? You don't understand. There's people that think that you're what's destroying their life.
Yeah.
And that's just how they feel. It doesn't matter if he was on the complete opposite of if he was like, screw Doge, we're just going to do USAID. I love this stuff. Let's
Yeah.
do
There's
it.
campaigns to get him removed from things, no?
Yeah, because there's also that's a unofficial, position.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's kind of doing a lot of budget cuts, right? So it is a little controversial, right?
It's
So-
super controversial, man. This guy has like a government role without a position, like you're saying.
Right.
That's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, but then I think the thought behind it, is if somebody smart like him who has started a Starlink, who has started SpaceX, right, who does know a couple of things about technology, let's just say, if somebody like him is trying to make the government more efficient, especially even in the technology side of things,
Yeah.
right? Like with everything that came up with Social Security, how they're saying that people that were dead are getting paid, right? And then there's also articles that refute that and say that, it's not actually like that. It's systematically in the system it says that, but you're not actually getting paid. But in this whole podcast, he goes on and they talk about that a little bit too. But I feel like, I understand your point, and I get why people would hate him as well, especially these first 100 or so days of Trump's presidency.
Yeah.
This guy's been attacking somebody new every day,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's tariffs, or Zelenskyy or whatever it is, right? So he's really trying to, light the fire over here where people have a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's every day he's
That's-
got something catchy to say.
It's both of their approach, right? Even Trump, like he just wants this war done. They're just trying to do things immediately as quick as possible. But they're creating a lot of enemies too.
I think Elon doesn't do. He definitely makes it easy for them. I think we have another clip of what I mean by that. Like, watch.
To buy a company for $44 billion and then people call you a Nazi on that same thing that you bought.
I did not see it coming. It's classic. People will gobble anything down.
Yeah. Oh, he's never gonna stop.
Wait. What?
What is it like? Like all this, people used to. The left was in love with you.
Yeah.
And now the same idiots are calling you a Nazi. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life.
I mean,
there's so many examples of people saying my heart goes out to you.
Sure,
you did it with a little enthusiasm that probably wouldn't be recommended with hindsight.
Yes, but I was obviously meant in the most positive spirit possible.
Yes,
yeah,
obviously.
But
it's so strange where people want to think that you are openly publicly doing secret Nazi Sieg Heil hand motions.
And now I can never point at things diagonally. I can only point at things there and there. And then so you have to divide that.
Yeah.
Because that's where the spaceship is, over there. That's ridiculous.
See, so like that, if you're going to make a Nazi joke by saying,
the Nazi,
right? Things like that, if somebody's sensitive, especially rightfully so, right? If somebody has, a family who was affected by what happened in World War II and everything with Hitler and all of that stuff, right? They're going to be sensitive to that stuff, right? So the second you make light of that, I'm not saying that, there's not a lot of comedians that joke about a lot of things, but the second you start doing that, they're going to get offended.
Yeah.
Right? And the more you double down and triple down, and the more people are going to talk about it, right? So you're giving them things to talk about.
Yeah.
Right. Even that Nazi salute, I think we kind of argued about it when it first happened.
Yeah. I retract what I said.
You think
I don't believe he meant to do it.
You don't think he did?
No, just like I guess I haven't seen him in too many interviews, but he seems more human.
Yeah.
Than I thought. Like that was very robotic.
Yeah.
It seemed very like genuine almost.
Yeah, I think he was energetic when that was going on. Like, he can't contain emotion or whatever. I don't think it was a right thing to do.
No,
for sure.
It's pretty ignorant to realize like what's going on and to do something like that, right? Yeah. But even Rogan was like, maybe you put a little bit too much enthusiasm into that, right? But like, even if you didn't mean to do something, you can't help the way that somebody else is going to perceive it, right?
Sure.
And if they get offended, what I would have done, right? Well, he could do whatever he wants. Is like, oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's all.
Which is not what he did.
Right?
Yeah. I feel like I'm going the other way on this guy. Like he's starting to annoy me.
Yeah, I can see why.
He's saying there's left and there's only far right. No, your actions are far right. That's why people start calling you far right, right? Even Trump, they're far right. You wouldn't call them just right.
I mean, a part of the annoyance is like those what they do when they talk about Canada, right?
Yeah.
So that being Canadian,
too,
right? That's gonna add to it. But him saying that Canada isn't a real country when he said that, that's kind of in response to a petition signed to revoke his citizenship, right? Because he has a Canadian citizenship because his mom's born in where?
Crazy.
I heard he has 3.
He might, right? But I think his mom's born in Saskatchewan or Regina or somewhere. But yeah, I mean, it's like the hate for him is definitely increasing.
For sure.
Right?
The more he talks, the more it's going to happen.
Even Tesla's stock price goes a little bit up and down, and it's a little unpredictable. I do think some of it is warranted and some of it is.
Yeah, you're right, Saskatchewan.
Right? Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like the jury's still out on Trump's presidency. I think this government efficiency stuff, if it works out and these guys actually cut a lot of, wasted funding by, NGOs, non-government organizations, if they actually do that, I feel like it might be one of the greatest moves ever, right?
This whole presidency, right? They're moving pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it could either blow up in their face or they're going to look smart, right?
Yeah, one of the two things is going to happen. Yeah. Because I feel like if they fumble this thing and it actually goes the other way, I think it's not going to end well. Like, I think you're going to see Democrats come back in a wave after 4 years from now. Even by midterms, who knows what can happen there, right?
I don't know how this guy juggles it all, right? It seems like he's doing all this Doge. He tweets 24/7. Now he's having, How many kids?
That's tweet 24/7.
14
kids.
Yeah.
Is he trying to go for 100?
I don't know. I don't know. I think he's actually said that before. He'd have 100.
Something like that. I've heard that.
Yeah. I mean, that many kids is wild.
Four with this lady. Right? That's the fourth one. That's crazy.
I think only 4 baby mamas.
Just 4.
Yeah.
So Nick Cannon had some words. Meek Mill was like, I don't need him to have more baby mamas than me.
Even competition.
Even Nick Cannon has like 13.
That's like
he's in the teens.
But he has like that not monogamous relationship. Like he's in a relationship with all of them. It's a weird situation. I don't think Elon Musk is that.
Polyamorous or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Musk is just... He was even married a couple of times.
I think he's been married 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And divorced. But yeah, I mean, that's his own prerogative, right? If he wants to have 14 kids, that just seems like a little crazy to manage to me.
Yeah.
Right? And even outside of that, imagine all of the child support and everything this guy...
Well, he disowned one of them. It's not... I don't think he's like a great father.
Yeah, I don't think he's very
How can you be?
Yeah.
To 14 kids.
I've seen some stuff about Nick Cannon. Like, all jokes aside, this guy flies all the time to see all his kids for all functions, takes them to Disneyland. I'm not saying like he throws a lot of money at them, for sure. But it seems like he's very involved in all of his children's lives.
Yeah, I mean, even if you take the SpaceX and now this Doge stuff, all of it out of it, if 14 kids, even if you're just a normal person, is a shit ton of kids.
Yeah.
My grandmother had 14 kids.
Well, that's crazy. Right?
Or 13, sorry.
Okay, that is a little nuts. Okay, let's move on to this. These are merely our opinions based on our life experiences, knowledge, and research. Maybe you agree or disagree, or simply want to be a part of the conversation. Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. Now let's get back to the pod. To this face of the NBA debate. Here's a clip of LeBron essentially saying that no one really wants a job.
Was being the face of the league something that you actively wanted, or was it something that everyone else decided for you? And what has that responsibility meant to you?
No, Ant already said he don't want it.
I know.
Yeah, Ant said he ain't trying to deal with that. And I mean, Channing Frye said it the other day too. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but like, I don't know when you. Why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? I mean, that responsibility, it's just weird. It's weird energy from the people that I don't know. But Channing, he said it. He said it perfectly. Couldn't have said it no better. But Ant said he don't want it. Obviously I didn't ask for it, but I knew there was a responsibility for me. Not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career. Not only in Ohio when I started there, but all over America and all over the world when I traveled all over the world. So,
so this thing all sparked up during All-Star, right? When the ratings were tanking, and even on Christmas, how their day, NFL totally took over, right? I don't think it's a secret. NBA ratings have been down. So then that sparked the whole thing. Like, they need a new face of the league because LeBron's on his way out, right? So you basically got Wemby, SGA, Ant. And then Ant, they interviewed during All-Star weekend.
Yeah, he was like, I don't want the job.
He's like, I don't want the job. Wemby can have it. And it's just like, this is when a player-driven league, in my opinion, gets out of hand. David Stern would have never let this happen. Like, LeBron's acting like he's running the league. And you're the role model, right? You tell these kids what to do. He made the dunk contest not popular.
Yeah.
Now he's saying crap like this.
I mean, a little bit, but I don't get, what was he saying there? He's saying that the media is basically talking bad or negative about the league?
That's every sport.
Yeah. So
that's what we're gonna do right now. Like, that's what people do.
Who watches when you watch the news, right? It's all negative, and people complain. It's always negative. Try putting out positive news there.
Nobody cares.
Nobody's gonna care.
They'll get bored.
Yeah, they'll get bored. They won't watch. They want shock value, right? That's why people pay attention. But as far as like LeBron goes, I don't know. Yeah, he is on his way out. But what I feel here is that as far as like an NBA perspective, you do need a face of the league.
For sure.
Right. And with all of this parity stuff, right, it's hard to see a dominant figure if there's just teams that are kind of well-rounded all over the place and small markets and stuff. You don't see a dominant face of the league, right? Even if Ant-Man was the face of the league, if Minnesota's not winning anything, he's not going to be respected like he is. Right. Like LeBron was the face of the league. He's been to 11 straight NBA finals. Right. He
Is that like an official title, face of the league?
No.
So just what the consensus is of
basically
the public?
Yeah, it like I feel like it mainly started around Jordan, right? Like right after Magic and Larry Bird kind of saved the NBA, Jordan came along and everyone's kind of fell in love with the guy, right? And he was just like, they called him like God. And he would just, there's no wrongs he can do. And he was carrying the league because all eyes were on Mike, right? And then from there, once he was transitioning out of that, there were a lot of these kind of players who were easily marketable, be it Kobe, Vince Carter.
Weren't they trying to change the thing to Kobe?
The logo?
Talk about that with a lot of players.
Yeah, there's a talk about that with a lot of players. But then when before LeBron even came into the league in 2003, he was talked about like he was going to be the next Mike. Right? And from the moment he stepped on the court, the guy's kind of been either a villain or a hero, depending on what side you fall on. There was always somebody to root against, root for.
It's good for the league.
It was good for the league, right? He teamed up super team, right? You had Boston super team, like, and that's just from 2003. So, you know, the last 20 years or so, right? So then from that, you had the Golden State era, right? And now, like, even before that, like I missed the whole, you know, Kobe and Shaq, Tim Duncan, Garnett. Like there was a lot of like teams winning, like little things are always amongst the top of the teams. Now you don't really have that anymore. Right? Like,
and it's like he benefited from this immensely. He made hundreds of millions of dollars being the face of the league. And these players have an obligation to kind of be the face of the league, right? You want to market that league and you want to leave it in a place where you're helping out everyone that's going to come after you too, right? Why are you telling them you don't need to be the face of the league? Somebody has to represent the league.
Do you feel like a part of it is that they get paid so much now and the contracts are so big, right? Where they don't really feel the need to be the face of the league and they don't ever think that, hey man, if the ratings are going down and the TV deals aren't there, right, and everything moves to streaming,
what's going to happen?
What's happening to the future of the league? Right. Whereas like past players kind of out of necessity carried that. Right. It's similar to, you know, if a rich person is spoon fed, right, they're gonna be less inclined to work hard. Right. If somebody comes from the mud, they're going to be working hard their whole life. Right. And that's going to, you know, motivate them to continue to work hard. So maybe a lot of these players they don't have the motivation to be the face of the league because they think that this money is going to keep coming in.
That's so true. I didn't even look at it from that perspective, but that's so true. That's probably what it is, honestly.
But then LeBron's been there like for so many years. So he's been through the whole before it all changed to this. So it's like, shouldn't he be motivating the next generation?
He should. And a lot of, by the time he got here, it was private jets and stuff. These NBA players that he's talking about, they do some stuff.
Like you're talking Bill Russell days, and then after that Kareem, Magic and them, and then Jordan and them, there's different times.
I'm thinking it's like he gets a lot of hate, right? So now if he said that I'm like face of the league, I think he's just gonna get more hate. He doesn't want that.
Who, LeBron?
Yeah.
LeBron's always been the face of the league. I think from his perspective, if anyone can understand it, it's probably him. And when he talks about negativity, where like we can say like, yeah, man, like what I was saying before, like shock value, to play devil's advocate here, I don't think there's many athletes on the planet that have been scrutinized as much as this guy. People will talk about family, kids. They don't stop, right? And they forget that he was a 18-year-old kid when he came to the NBA. Right? He's a teenager, he's a little kid, man. So like from that growing into a man in the league while people are talking shit about you, your family, your mom, everything from day one. It's hard, right? So you get tired of it and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Like that's what I think it is. Like he's just over it.
That makes sense, right? But what he does do, he sets the tone for the league, right? And these other players just start acting like, did you see KD's whole exchange? He had some exchange with this fan online, right? And he was like asking him, how do you fix this? The player empowerment, what's going on, right? This is what he tweeted as a reply. He's like, for the betterment of your mental health and overall well-being, just don't watch the NBA. Hockey's right there, and they play with aggression that you may like. They also rarely get traded to new teams in free agency, so the loyalty aspect is there. Hope that helps.
Yeah.
Little petty there, right?
Yeah. He's being sarcastic. Yeah. Yeah.
But you need players that are going to push. I think that this league's in a vulnerable position, and I don't think they realize it. The gravy train will end if your ratings keep tanking, man. They're not going to keep paying you if nobody's watching.
I think a little bit for the KD stuff, if you know KD's personality, from what I've realized, he's kind of like he's not only a troll, he's like, if you don't want to watch, then don't watch, right? Like, this is our product. I'm a good basketball player. I love hooping. If you want to watch, watch. If you don't. That's kind of, that's what I gather from that.
Yeah.
Right? Because somebody's probably like, how do you fix this or whatever? He's like, don't watch this. Go watch hockey. Go watch football. Go watch whatever. Right? That's what I think he's saying. Right? But like, as far as the ratings go, like, the NBA is running into problems because of it started happening. Really, I feel like when this
problems they never had.
Yeah, when the players started sitting out. Right, the dunk contest was one thing, and people can blame sitting out on LeBron, but LeBron's played the most games in NBA history. I think he's up there in points. He's up there. He shattered every single record. That only happens through longevity. But look at Kawhi. Right, he was being.
You can blame Kawhi.
You can blame Kawhi for a lot of this.
Load management.
Stephen A. used to get
came
on
up
him
with that
all
term.
the time, right?
Load management.
Yeah, so load management, I feel like, started to ruin the league. I feel like from there was this entitlement that we're getting paychecks.
Yeah,
and we're gonna
no matter what.
Yeah, if we're sitting on the bench, we're getting paychecks. If we just work hard for the first 3 years or 4 years of our NBA career, after that, supermax deals. Right, for these all superstars, right?
Yeah.
So from that, I don't think you're inclined then to carry the game the same way, right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. They could restructure the contracts. I don't know if that's one way. But Ant would be a great face for the league. I feel like if he would be my choice amongst the three that are being talked about.
I think Ant has this infectious personality. I think he even has people like to compare the way that he walks and smiles and talks to Jordan.
Yeah.
Right. He has a little bit of that, like, he'll dunk over anyone mentality. He has that, like, you know, you could see a shit ton of upside. Like, he's not even in his prime yet. Right. The problem is he's sitting in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right.
The market. Yeah.
If he was in a bigger market, and honestly, I feel like, I don't know how anyone else feels, but to me, I think the era of super teams should come back, right? Like, if you get a little bit of that in the league and a couple of these young guns start pairing up a little bit together, and then you have a little bit of competition where you have somebody to vilify and somebody to root for, you might get some of that back.
Did you see his interaction with Obama?
Oh, that was weird.
I saw that.
That was weird.
What did you think of it? I liked it. I like it when a player is like confident and he's like, I am the truth.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are talking to me, but don't disrespect like what I do.
Yeah.
I'm the best player on that court. I love that attitude. That is Jordan's attitude. He would have said that to the president.
I mean, what's funny is Obama was talking to Embiid. Right? He's like, this little kid's pretty good too, eh?
Yeah.
And Embiid just like starts laughing and he's like, whoa, right? And that's what Anthony Edwards
played, 16 games this year?
Yeah, Embiid's been getting a lot of flack for not giving his all. Paul George goes there and they kind of like just fall off the radar, not really doing anything crazy, and now he's out for the season, right? So he's doing that, right? And if Obama, I mean, the thing with Obama is I feel like a lot of these players, he doesn't really resonate with them.
Yeah.
Right? Especially Anthony Edwards. Yeah, right? He's a little bit younger.
Like Steph and Braun and stuff, they have a relationship.
They're older, right? They've been to the White House when those championships happened, right? Obama was the cool guy, right? When these guys were winning those rings. He's not anymore.
Yeah.
Now he's looked at the guy who ran Kamala's campaign and half the internet was like laughing at him, right? When he was telling black people, you have to vote. Come on, black men. Like when he was doing that, a lot of people got annoyed, right?
Yeah.
And the way that I feel like the zeitgeist works, right? Like you just have a bunch of people who start saying things and then it becomes culture to hate on anybody.
Yeah.
Right? So I think a lot of that just like, you can blame social media, you can blame whatever, you can create narratives about anybody.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
But
Wait, before you move on, does Joel Embiid come to the Raptors?
Oh, I saw that rumor. So there was a rumor a couple of weeks ago. You're not wrong.
No, we don't need that.
That's the first thing I thought. I was like, no, we don't need that. I think because of the Masai connection, right? Like maybe, but
I just saw it like yesterday, the day before.
yeah. I saw the same thing that they're gonna chase for him in the off season.
Yeah.
Like he had his chance with Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, and now Paul George, and he doesn't play. Then he doesn't play well enough. It seems like he won that one MVP that year. He was amazing. He was pretty good when Ben Simmons was there. He thought that was like the worst of his days. He was going to get a lot better with other players.
Yeah.
He's been doing nothing but worse ever since Kawhi hit that buzzer beater and like basically ended these guys' careers. Right? Like Ben Simmons
he's just crying on
right.
Gasol's shoulder.
And then now, Embiid, I don't know what's going to happen with his career. I hope, personally speaking, I don't hate him or anything, but like I hope he doesn't come to the Raptors. I don't think Raptors need that.
I don't know. Imagine if Masai pulls it off again, like Kawhi.
What's the Masai connection? They're like related.
Africa, they always do this.
They exactly look alike.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like, is that his uncle? No.
Basketball beyond borders and stuff. They do a lot of
they
stuff.
do a lot of stuff together, charitable things and stuff, right? So they
I have another basketball question.
Yeah.
Sure.
What happened to Bronny?
What do you mean he's playing?
Yeah, he's still on the
I've never
Lakers.
seen him again. He plays.
Yeah, he still plays. Yeah, he
He's
goes
on the Lakers.
He goes to the G League, then he gets called back up, and he goes back and forth here and there, right?
Yeah.
He's a decent player, but somebody like him is going to take like 4 or 5 years to develop, right? And a lot of people are going to criticize him for no reason, right? Because he's LeBron's son, right? It's probably the only reason he's in the league.
So do him and LeBron still play together sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. Not often, but sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, let's move on to politics. There's a lot going on here. Let's start with good old Doug Ford with winning the Ontario provincial election. Here's a clip.
Thinks he can break us. He thinks he can divide and conquer, pit region against region. Donald Trump doesn't know what we know. He is underestimating us. He is underestimating the resilience of the Canadian people, the Canadian spirit. Make no mistake, Canada won't start a fight with the U.S., but you better believe we're ready to win one.
Oh,
Folks, let me be clear. Canada will never, ever be the 51st state. And Canada is not for sale.
There's the champ. Got been straight to WrestleMania.
Right? He's like, I need a belt.
Did anybody think he wasn't going to win, though?
No, I don't think.
No.
Well, Crombie kind of did, I guess.
But his whole thing was, so I think they had 83 seats before this started, and he's like, I need a powerful mandate, the most powerful mandate ever. I think everyone's always trying to channel the inner Trump these days. And I think he was expecting 90 to 100 seats,
it was
right?
less.
Yeah, they lost 3 seats, right? So they got 80.
Yeah.
Right, and the voter turnout I think was around 46%, so like around 5.
Turnout, it's horrible.
It's not as bad as people initially thought it was going to be in 2022. I think it was at record lows. It's lower than it usually is, but
It was
around 5 million.
44%, the same as 2022.
Wasn't it 46?
I read it was 44.
I think that was the early numbers. I think officially it's like 45 point something, around 5 million people in Ontario voted.
But we're half decent, I guess.
Yeah. Regardless, he didn't get what he wanted, right? He lost 3 seats, right? Which basically changes nothing in terms of government, right? And he had a delusional, I think, somewhat perspective that he thought he was going to get 90 to 100.
I mean, he could have. He still won in a landslide. This thing was over in 8 minutes. 8 minutes later, they called it.
I mean, if you look at the total numbers, I think he got somewhere around a little over 2 million, 2.1 million votes.
Yeah.
PC did. And the next closest was 900,000 NDP, right? And the Liberals, I think NDP even lost like 4 or 5 seats. And the Liberals were actually the ones that gained a little bit.
Yeah.
But ironically,
Crombie didn't gain. She lost her own riding, man.
That's so sad.
Right?
Even the way that she was came out. She came out so excited.
Yeah.
Like she was giving me like crazy cat lady vibes. It's crazy. She's acting like she won.
Yeah.
And like, yo, you lost your own riding, man.
Yeah.
You know what even adds to that? Being the mayor of Mississauga, right? Leaving that in 2023 to become the Liberal Party leader in Ontario, only to lose your riding in Mississauga. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's a little ironic and funny to me.
I feel like he was obviously trying to get more seats, but do you think that maybe the other reason was the 4 years lining up with the new person coming in power in Canada and Trump?
Probably.
Just to be there for the whole term.
Probably.
On both ends. I think that's something to do with it too. That's why you wanted it.
I mean, I think if you live in Ontario, you kind of see the writing on the wall, even if you might not agree with this guy.
Yeah.
Right. Bonnie Crombie or NDP, like what are they going to do in terms of like negotiating tariffs? To me, I don't know. It's the kind of place that you're in. This is kind of your only option, whether you agree or not.
Yeah.
Right? Like I didn't see any other option. I think Ontario kind of agreed with that. That's why half the population voted for him. Right. Yeah. But I do feel like he's, there's a lot of things that he does that some people like, and then he just does and says things that people don't like. Right.
Sure. I mean, I feel like in the media, obviously they push liberals a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they can say whatever they want. I think it's telling of the pulse of the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no matter how much they made it seem like Crombie was going to do something. Like
Nobody believed that.
But that's how the media painted it.
Yeah.
And he won in a landslide.
Nobody believed that because I don't even know what her goal was, right? Well, like this guy clearly
they got official party status. That was their goal, apparently.
But yeah, let's just move on to the federal elections. Mark Carney was out here talking about Pierre Poilievre while he was on the campaign trail, I guess.
Markets don't have values. People do. Okay. And it's part of the job of government, certainly liberal government, is to make sure that the market, the private sector works to help solve the problems for Canadians. And my opponent, Pierre Poilievre, doesn't get that. Doesn't get any of it. And it's not entirely surprising because and I've seen this before in different countries around the world, there's no stronger believer in the power of the market and free enterprise and Milton Friedman and fundamentalism than someone who's only ever been a politician. Someone who's never earned a paycheck or had to make payroll. Okay. That sort of trickle-down economics is not what we need. It's not what's going to drive this country.
Okay. Coming from a banker.
Right?
Saying a politician won't be good at being a politician.
I mean, I hear. Why are you trying to be a politician then? Right? He's also the same guy that was saying that he has no political experience whatsoever, but he's right to run the country.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't even denounced his citizenships from UK, Ireland. I don't know.
I mean, with him, like it seems like they're right-wing conservative talking points, what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
But how can you vote for the guy who was Trudeau's economic advisor?
Snaked him a little.
If you feel like
he snaked him.
Excuse me. If you feel like the country needs a change financially, right? And he's basically saying trickle down economics, right? So he's kind of, the underlying thing he's saying there, he's preaching the same message, right? Which means that they're not going to incentivize businesses, right? Which is kind of what the country needs at this point. And their whole thing is that even if you see the discourse online, it's always about how Poilievre is Trump's guy and he's this and that, right?
Yeah.
But we have an audio clip here, which kind of says a little bit of the opposite.
Governor Trudeau understood that. I call him Governor Trudeau understood that. And he actually fired her.
Yes.
Because of a meeting he had with me. I said, she's so bad. She's bad for the country. If she were talented, I know people that are sort of bad people, but they do a good job running a country. Who seems to be, who's going to get the nomination, do you think?
I don't know. After that debate, they all seemed, she was the nuttiest, but they all seemed pretty nutty too.
She's a whack.
The Conservatives obviously have taken a hit in the polls since some of the comments that you've made that the Liberals have leaned into. Do you think that they're still going to be able to pull it out if they're?
Well, I think his biggest problem is he's not a MAGA guy, you know? I mean, he's really not. He's not a Trump guy at all.
He's more of a throwback Republican.
He's different.
Yeah.
Making a big mistake. They all make that mistake, you know. They think they're going to be the tough guy and they're going to knock out Trump.
Yeah.
And they end up getting the hell beat out of him. So I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you, Pierre. I just don't know. I don't like what he's saying about me. It's just not positive about me. And we've done
Can't
a great
say
job.
anything negative about Trump. This guy just said that he got Freeland fired. He's like, I told the governor to get rid of it.
Patting himself on the back.
Right? And then even that, he's like, he's not a MAGA guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what do you expect the guy to say? Right? You're attacking his country and saying that they should be the 51st state.
Responded to that. He's like, I'm not a MAGA guy.
Yeah, he tweeted.
Yeah, tweeted.
Right? Yeah. And I think to me, like when I hear that, I'm just like, okay, so you want the guy to just fold and be like, yeah, we want to be the 51st state. I love you, Trump. What do you want him to say?
Yeah.
Right? He's going to stand up for his country. You think anyone's going to vote for the guy who says that Canada can't be its own country?
Because then if he didn't have a backbone, he would refer to him as governor. Like,
Yeah,
how he
right.
refers to Trudeau.
It's like you can't win with this guy.
Yeah.
Either you fall in line or you're a governor.
Even if you fall in line, he'll think you're like a little bitch.
even the interviewer, he was just like, yeah, he's like more of a throwback Republican.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I don't get with Canada a little bit. Like the argument online is constantly about this guy saying that he's Trump's puppet, that he's going to do the same things that Trump does. To me, I see a guy who would do for Canada all the good things that Trump's going to do for the States. Yeah. And it comes with basically none of the bad. The bad that comes with Polyev is that he's a little bit off-putting in the sense that he's can come off as arrogant.
Yeah.
Right. Or pompous at times. And I think that's off-putting to a lot of people. Right. Outside of that, I don't see the comparison with him and Trump. And that's what Trump, I think, also sees. Right. He's like, this guy isn't like me.
Yeah. I feel like he sees that now. That's why he just starts getting ahead of the tide, right? He's shifting the narrative.
Yeah.
Because first Elon was just like pumping him up to like essentially campaigning for him, both of them. Oh, I like that PR guy. Now he doesn't like him anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Now Canada's not.
He's like, I don't think I can control this guy anymore.
Exactly. I think that's what it is.
Right?
I think he thinks that this guy's uncontrollable now. So
he's like, that's more dangerous than the governor.
Right. But yeah. I think that's enough of that. You guys want to move on to off topic?
Yeah. So we could start with we have a story about some advancements in eye surgery.
So it's a new procedure in Canada. They're calling it tooth in eye surgery. So this doctor, Greg Maloney, he came to Vancouver from Australia, and he's hoping to be the first surgeon in Canada to restore vision in patients by inserting a tooth in their eye. So basically how this procedure works is that the tooth is extracted and then a hole is drilled into the tooth, like in the middle of it, and then a lens is glued inside the hole, and then that tooth is sewn into the inside of your cheek for like 3 months for the tissue to develop around it. When it gets, then they take it out, cut it out of your cheek, and then they put it, like sew it to your eye socket, and then you can be able to see through that little hole. And so it's a certain kind of blindness that people that have had like severe scarring or like trauma caused to the front of their eye, this type of procedure can restore their vision. So people that have done this in other parts of the world have been successful, and they're able to see when they were blind, and they're just starting it now in Canada.
But That's how your eye ends up looking?
Yeah, so your eye ends up looking like
It
that.
just stays like that?
Yeah, it looks like that, which is it's kind of scary, but like
Kind of scary.
yeah,
That's like very Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
coming
I
from
see
a
those
person-
eyes, I'm running. I'm gone.
Imagine you're blind.
Yeah, coming from a person that's blind and now being able to see, I don't think that would be something that would turn them off from it.
For sure, the hesitancy I would have is why a tooth, and how many people have actually done this,
Yeah.
and not had any significant side effects, right?
Well,
that looks
what's the
kind of
side effect? You're already blind.
a lot of
side
things.
effect
You're
is
sticking a
you could-
tooth in your eye
That's
socket.
I don't get. Like, I don't know the technical parts of it, but a tooth is so hard.
So
Right.
they
And then,
said
like, when
they
you're blinking-
needed an object that would last a long time with having a lens glued in it and something that the body wouldn't reject. And so the tooth is the strongest bone in the body. That's why they chose to do a tooth.
I mean, that's a little interesting for sure, and that eye is definitely scary. But like, I don't know. I don't know if I would sign up for that until I saw a lot more people do it.
Well, hopefully you don't have any trauma to your eye.
Right? I'm out here
Don't
talking
even-
like I'm.
I don't think it's just anybody with like cataracts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a specific type of way that you.
Yeah.
That's crazy though. Science.
Right.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And
definitely
it makes sense, like with the tooth, right? Because even when someone dies, your teeth remain.
Yeah.
Oh, so dead people's teeth?
That's how they identify, like if you have like burn victims and stuff.
No, I know that, but
Okay.
you're getting dead people's teeth put into blind people.
You'd have your.
No, it's your
own-
own.
Use your
Yeah. No,
Being funny. Anyways, let's move on to McDonald's renaming a couple of their restaurants.
okay.
Yeah, so they're renaming them to McDavid's.
Oh, I saw that.
I thought of that too
Yeah.
for a second.
Yeah.
Like McDonald's,
Yeah.
McDavid.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. They got one in Edmonton. Obviously, that's where the team's from.
Yeah.
And then they got one in Newmarket.
Yeah. In Ontario, right?
Yeah. And they're even calling the Big Mac the McDavid something Mac. Or
Oh, okay. Yeah. Immediately, right when I saw that, my mind went to how did they sign the paperwork to let McDonald's do the rebranding like that?
Yeah, I was wondering that too when I saw it.
I was like,
even
they're a
consider that.
franchise.
Two restaurants.
But they jumped on that quick.
Yeah, they had to have jumped on it fast.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
gotta Connor had to have signed on too, right?
I don't know. I don't think he would have had to sign on. I think they could have done that without him. But I feel like they would have had to move right after that goal, like the next day.
Yeah.
And it's only temporary for like a month.
I think
right? So
I
it's
think it's only a week or so.
yeah, a week or a month. So I don't think it's permanent, right?
Yeah.
So I do think, but
That's
honestly, if somebody deserves it, that goal was pretty special for the country,
For sure.
right? Like we talked about it last week, is big time.
And he's Canadian and he plays for a Canadian team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he scored in the, what was it called?
The
Four
Four Nations.
Nations.
Okay.
The biggest game of no.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we got?
So there's this video. I'll play it first. It's WillSmith performing with so she's like this Spanish singer. Her name's India Martinez.
Okay.
But we'll watch it first. It's so cringy.
Yeah. Okay. What's he doing?
Right? Watch again. Look.
Ew.
Oh, what the hell?
So
Okay.
basically, people are thinking it's very inappropriate.
Yeah.
Because what he was doing. So what I took from this is like, I'm going to bring up a couple of scenarios, like similar situations. So he's singing. It's just a performance.
Yeah.
But he's married, obviously.
Yeah.
But then their relationship's kind of weird.
Yeah,
Hold on.
it's like an open relationship.
Yeah.
I've heard so many things like
Yeah.
they're separated, they're divorced, they're back together, they're
This
not
is
in
a
an open
get
relationship.
back.
Oh, huh?
This is a get back at
That's-
Jada.
Well,
Yeah,
some
she
of the
had
comments are like, why isn't Jada slapping her and stuff? But basically, I was just like, okay, like I found this article saying like, what would you consider cheating?
Yeah.
So there was so many stupid ones, like if you sleep with someone else, obviously,
Obviously.
right? But so I picked like 7. So
Okay.
just it's kind of gray area. So let me
Okay.
know what you guys think.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one is workplace friends eating lunch together every day.
Every day?
Like male, female, or just any.
Yeah, every day.
Every day is cheating.
It's cheating.
Every single
What
day?
about work? You work together every single
You
5 days a
alone
week.
every day, you and the
What
other
if
person.
that's your work buddy? And like, think about working.
That's a different
pick a
work
female
buddy. No. Yeah.
No,
Don't.
put yourself in an office scenario.
I will put myself in that office scenario, and I'm telling you, if it's a member of the opposite sex, no.
Yeah.
No.
You're gay.
Or whatever your situation is.
Okay.
If you are sitting if you are sitting in front of somebody having lunch every single day, and there's somebody you might be physically attracted
No,
to.
that's not it. It's just that's your friend at work.
No, I'm trying to articulate
Okay.
that there's a possibility
Is something
because of your sexual orientation or whatever you believe that something could be happening, right? Traditionally, okay, if it's a guy and a girl
Yeah.
going to a restaurant every single lunch and eating together,
Yeah.
that's a little weird.
I think that's
What do you think?
I don't think it's cheating, but it is a little much.
Like the friendship is too strong.
Yeah.
I'll say cheating.
Okay, let's move on. What about acting, kissing, intimate scenes? Like if you're an actor, like celebrity.
I guess if you know what you got into,
Right.
there, right? They're gonna have to do that.
But
It's part of their
specifically
job.
to you two.
So to me, I feel
I
like
wouldn't date an actress either.
exactly.
He said, yeah.
Yeah, you know what you're getting into beforehand, right? And you know what movies that person is signing up for. And there are some people in Hollywood who will not take certain roles if those,
Yeah, the guy from You, Penn Bagley, is that his name?
I think there's a couple of them that
Yeah.
are married and they're like, that doesn't align with my morals, so I'm not going to take those roles.
Yeah.
But to that, even though they might be kissing or having some sort of
Intimate.
scene,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't think that's cheating because you know about it before it happens.
Yeah.
It's not because it's your job.
I'll just do a couple more. Watching X-rated movies.
Watching?
Watching.
Oh,
By yourself?
By yourself.
I guess not. I don't know.
Obviously by yourself.
I think
That's cheating.
I think it's where that person's mental state is, and if they're hiding it from their partner because they know it bothers their partner,
Yeah.
then yes, right? But like if it's just something that the other person doesn't care about or isn't aware of, then no.
Okay, last. Tweeting something like thirsty about a celebrity and tagging the celebrity.
Tagging them? Yeah.
Like saying
yeah. Then that.
Justin Trudeau. No.
'Cause you.
What? Okay. So I feel like with that, I'm never on board with this celebrity crush or like hall pass kind of bullshit that people like to throw out there.
Yeah.
Because what kind of BS is that? Right? To me personally, right?
Yeah.
But I think this whole thing about cheating, the way that I would look at it is that when you're a kid, it's only the very obvious stuff, right? Which is like, obviously sleeping with somebody or kissing or whatever,
Yeah.
right? As you age and you have a better understanding of the person that you're with, especially if you're married and you know what that person likes or dislikes, right?
Yeah.
It depends. Maybe your wife doesn't like it if you just smile at a girl a little weird. Maybe she's like, what the hell are you
like
doing?
flirting
bro?"
with the
or a little bit like,
stars.
hey,
An
you're just
emotional
being all
connection.
giggly, right? Or like, what is acceptable or not in your relationship, right?
Yeah.
So you know what line not to cross, and it's different for everybody. So when you're in a relationship long enough, you know that okay, what I'm doing, this feels kind of wrong. It doesn't have to line up
But
with
feels
any
right.
of those things.
For me, it's the adding them. It's like that was
yeah.
unnecessary. You want them to see it.
And he's like,
What are the odds though?
he's like the at.
Yeah.
Problem.
Something about them.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
As long as they're not.
Yeah. As long as the at was a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little thirsty.
It wouldn't be cheating, but it's unnecessary.
Yeah. Argument, right?
For sure. 100% argument.
What was that?
Okay, let's move on. So Kyrie Irving has a sneaker. It's called the Antics. So a year ago, he posted like something on his IG story saying, "Customize my shoe." So a little kid, well, it wasn't a little kid, but he drew this image for him, and he showed him, and he.
Good drawing.
Yeah, so he showed him. So this is his shoe.
Yeah.
He had already put the template out. You just kind of had to color it in.
Yeah.
And he showed him like, so it says 24.
Then it's not that good.
The clowns
And
are kinda
he's and I have a video for you because in the video you'll see that he says, "Remember me."
It's for you. It's for you.
These are for me?
Yes, I saw, but I don't know. You know, it's my first time.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Kareem, brother.
Thank you, man.
I want to can I get a photo with you, bro? Can I get a photo?
Led by their leader, Kyrie, knocking down shots.
Cool.
Yeah, so he wore them.
And really, the
The
only
guy
thing
ended up
he
making the
didn't
shoe
wanna do
for him.
Wow.
And he wore it. Like, it's so nice
That's
to wear it, right? He wore it against his first game against Luca. After he got traded.
Yeah.
He ended up scoring like 30. They lost. He
Yeah.
scored like 35 points.
Yeah.
Damn. So is he gonna like sell that?
That's what everyone's asking.
Then
They
is that
really
guy
want
gonna
it.
get a cut?
That guy got a lot of following because of it. Because
Yeah.
that's like it's called the Challenger or something. Like it's his own thing that he added, his like flair. So he has like sweaters that have that print on it, pants. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he can monetize that in some sort of way. But yeah, about Kyrie, I feel like, do you remember the sentiment about him a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Everyone was just on his back during the pandemic
yeah.
for a few reasons because he wasn't playing
Flattered
ball or whatever.
stuff, yeah.
And the flattered stuff, right? And then there was even some stuff they were talking about anti-Semitic or whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like now everyone's switching up real quick right, with him. But for some reason, he seems like he's one of those really down-to-earth people.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's even hard for even normal people, right,
Yeah.
to be, right? Like, if he's around fans, he always acts like as if he's one of them. He doesn't talk to
It's
these.
really nice.
Yeah, he
that
doesn't.
interaction.
He doesn't come off as the kind of person who thinks he's better than somebody.
Yeah. I've noticed that with him and Steph.
Yeah, Steph.
Those two always give time to the fans.
But him, wasn't it this weird thing where he didn't even want to? He don't want to play with Brooklyn, was it anymore? And he started acting weird
I
during
think
that
he was
time.
just having a moment.
Yeah, I think he was
As soon as he
having.
got traded, he seemed happier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what it was.
Then you never know what's going on in somebody else's life, right? I think he's had a couple of things come up, right? Which, as a sports fan, everyone is going to talk about it, and they were annoyed with, right?
Yeah.
But recently, I want to say over the last 2 years, especially since even after Luka got traded, he seemed to have no problems.
Yeah,
Anthony
yeah.
Davis fit right in.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all smiles.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, I think I even saw a video of before the same game, like he was looking at Kobe's statue, him and Giannis sitting there staring at it, right? He's a massive Kobe guy.
Yeah.
Kobe used to call him all the time. But I feel like this whole down to earth thing, where when you're amongst fans, you have this ability to make them feel like, hey man, like I'm just your friend,
For
right?
sure.
It's cool. It's a skill, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like even
You gotta humble yourself.
Yeah, somebody like me, somebody like you, right? Even us, everyday people.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can have this, a part in your life where you think you're better than somebody.
Yeah.
Right. So for somebody who makes millions of dollars to have the ability to do that, it's cool.
For sure.
For sure.
So that was our last off-topic story.
Hey.
Okay, let's move on to questions. So I thought we could bring some of the Canadian patriotism to our first question.
Okay.
So guess the top 10 most common non-official first languages in Canada. So non-official meaning it can't be English or French. So what are the most common?
Punjabi.
Punjabi. Yeah, 10 is a lot. We'll go Punjabi.
I don't know if I know.
Do you want to guess? Okay, Punjabi is on the list. Do you want to guess which number?
Number one.
No.
I would say 3.
No, it's number 2.
I was going to say
pretty
two.
close.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Mandarin,
That's number 1.
number 1.
How the hell do you know that?
Look how many, you don't know who lives in Canada.
I was gonna say Hindi.
Spanish.
No.
Yeah, that's 4.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Just think of languages. Think of really popular languages. That's all it is.
No.
Hindi? No.
Is Hindi language?
Korean?
And also this list is as from according to Stats Canada.
Okay.
So it's like official.
It's official.
Yeah.
Okay.
Urdu different than Hindi, right? Is that on it?
Yeah, Urdu's on it. That's 10.
That's 10. Okay. So I think you got to shift.
Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Italian's on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, think European. Think South American.
Greek? Is that a language?
Yeah. That is.
that on
That
it?
is a language, but it's not
No.
on it.
What else do we got? We can't even think of languages, bro. Just think of French and English. That's all that keeps popping.
I'm just happy Punjabi's on.
That's all we had.
Number 2 is pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing a couple of big ones.
How many we got?
Yeah.
Cantonese different?
Yeah.
That is different, and
Yeah.
that's number 3.
Yeah.
How many we missed?
Chinese?
Portuguese?
Chinese? No.
Portuguese was on there, number 9.
No, you're fine.
We'll just
Let's
disregard
Let's move past
that.
it.
Okay, how many do we have left?
I think just 3 more.
Okay.
3 more.
Arabic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's right.
Sophia's nailing
Yeah.
it, right?
I can't think of any more.
I know. I'm just like, save us.
I'm just trying to think of people I know. People I work with.
Arabic is number 5. We're
Polish?
still missing number 6. No.
Jeez, what do Ukraine?
And we're missing number 8.
Russian?
Whoa! Why'd you that jinx? Why'd you guys say that together?
That was crazy, right? Because you said Ukraine, that's why.
But no.
Polish isn't one?
No.
Oh, you said that for the second time.
What about like?
Didn't hear.
There's a lot of Jamaican. Is patois a language?
Patois already.
No.
And I laughed. I thought that's what you laughed at.
Are we missing anything in
That's
Europe?
what I laughed at.
Any what?
Anything in Europe?
Probably.
Yeah,
What are
for
we
sure
missing?
we're missing something.
Because South America.
German?
Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah, German.
Europe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Swedish. No.
Is that it? We're done.
One more.
Oh, what the hell?
6.
Just tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Filipino. Like,
Oh.
what is it like?
Tagalog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't pronounce it.
Filipino.
It's like, oh.
I work with a lot of.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That's what
should've
it's
said it. That's what I thought
officially
of.
called, but I couldn't pronounce it. But yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the
That's
most
cool.
common non-official languages.
Yeah.
For the next question, we'll do a blind ranking.
Okay.
So rank these beverages without knowing what comes next.
Okay.
So number 1, and water is not on this list.
Okay.
And there's 5. The first one is Coke.
I knew you were going to say Coke.
Yeah.
Coke.
Okay.
I think it has to be 1.
Why?
I don't like.
Is it all non-alcohol?
Are they? Pop?
Yeah, they're all.
Why alcohol?
I'm just saying.
Are they all pop?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so there's gonna be like milk, chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Apple juice, milk, and chocolate.
They're 2 different things.
They are 2 different things.
Chocolate milk would be higher than milk
100%.
Fine. What do you want to say? Like 2?
I don't like pop in general.
because there's no water.
But it's
I
a
just
very
drink water.
popular pop.
Yeah. So
Think about the list.
okay, just
Like a
go.
family
It has to be 1 or 2.
situation.
Yeah, it has to be
Right.
1 or 2.
1 or 2?
1.
What do you think?
I
We're gonna
think
give
one.
it to 1. Okay, 1.
Okay, sure.
Damn.
Next one is coffee.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's too.
Oh wait,
bad.
I forget that there's not like a master.
Yeah.
It's our ranking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's 2.
So coffee's 2.
Sophia gets bothered.
Coffee
by
has
this.
to be 2.
I just need to. I need
Stop.
to win.
We tell you the rules every time.
Then coffee is number 1.
Coffee is now 2.
That's already
Coffee's
picked.
2.
All right.
Orange juice.
I don't like
I
orange.
don't like it either.
4,
5.
5. Damn. Okay, 5.
5.
Because apple juice is better.
Okay.
The next one is Red Bull.
Red Bull.
That would have been 5.
4.
So
now
4.
it's people.
Yeah. So we're leaving 3 open.
3 is
is
open for milk.
Milk, not bad. Chocolate
Yeah.
milk, throw some chocolate in there.
That's not a bad list. The
I
only
don't-
thing
I
I
don't
would
hate it.
reorganize is Coke and
Coffee.
coffee. That's it.
Yeah.
And Red Bull.
Why?
I really don't like Red Bull.
And Red Bull and orange juice.
Do you like a
Good.
different energy drink or you just
I don't like any.
They all taste the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all do taste very similar.
Yeah.
That aspartame taste, it's kind of weird.
Soury.
Yeah. Especially the. I'm not a big fan. If you
Yeah,
want
I don't like them
caffeinated,
either. It just
Right.
Sometimes you need them.
It seems like
I don't
you're
think
a fan.
I've drank it since uni.
Really?
Same. I don't really drink that.
I didn't because I drank a lot of coffee.
I opt for coffee.
Yeah.
But it's just when you can't get a coffee, you gotta make do.
If you need a caffeine boost. Yeah, I don't really drink anything outside of water and coffee. Not really a big pop person.
Great.
Or like juice, right? We
Not even really juice.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. We don't even
Yeah.
like juice.
Yeah. We drink jaw here and there.
so that
Tea,
has
coffee.
milk in it.
But yeah, remember, we're not experts on anything, but we research everything, and we encourage you guys to do the same. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Take care, everybody.
There.